Frank Ferrante. You're back in the classroom.
Lisa Haisha.
Yes, it's so good to have you here. I am a big fan, as you know, and I admire you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the reason I brought you in again is because I think you have a special, unique gift to articulate complicated subjects and simplify them. And you have a lot of wisdom because you've been there and done that on every area of your life. So I would like to ask you just a few I'm going to bring up a few subjects, and I want you to help the audience, everyone listening to this, give them advice about certain areas of their life.
Okay.
So first, tell me, what are the three, this is about leadership and leaders. So I always say there's 3 defining moments in your life. Can you tell me your 3 defining moments? Like one as a child, one as a teen, and maybe one as an adult that helped shape who you are today?
One as a child, one as a teen, and one as an adult.
Correct.
That affected my life. I'd say that that when I was 5, I thought my mother was dead, but she wasn't, but I thought she was, and that had an effect on the way I thought about life. I'm also a survivor of Catholic school, which had an impact on my spiritual life for the next 20 years. And then ultimately, when I began my journey to awakening in 1989, when I stopped using drugs and alcohol. And those, I'd say, are the 3 big ones. I mean, of course, there's when I had my children and those things too. I mean, it's hard. 3 is like, what's your favorite movie kind of thing. There was certainly more than 3, is what I would say.
Yeah, so if those are your 3 defining, or 3, 4, 5 defining moments, how did that really impact you? Like, if you didn't feel like your mother was dead at 5, how do you think your life would have been different? Like, what did that do to you? What was that moment of change?
It left me feeling frightened and alone and abandoned. And as a result, I made decisions. I lived my life as if that was always happening. I created a mechanism as a child to offset that fear, and so I could survive that trauma, which is trauma for a kid. The problem is that, and this happens with most people, is that the mechanism they devised as a child, which, by the way, takes a certain degree of intellect to devise, they carry that belief through their adult life and replay this scenario of abandonment over and over again. It just takes on different forms, but it's the same root cause.
Very true. And once that story is in your head, it's very hard to get out of. It takes a lot of deep spiritual work and time and desire to break the story that you created,
right,
and shift your life. So how does one break the story? Well,
that's a very that's a very good question, because in order to transcend trauma, you have to change the story. It doesn't mean you make up something that wasn't true. You just have to shift your perception of what happened. So for example, if somebody has a violent parent, and at one point, not that this is okay, but at one point you realize as an adult that this person experienced exactly what he's doing, right? And so you can have a degree of compassion for the perpetrator of the hurt. And once you develop that and the forgiveness, which doesn't mean condoning what they did or even liking them, but forgiving them, so that your heart and your mind are free to receive and to fully participate in the cycle of love.
Beautifully put. I love that. So next, I would love to do an exercise with you. We were talking about story and how to break a story. And one of the ways I found to break a story is telling the story over and over again until you're bored of the story. So what I would like from you is to tell me a boring, self-defeating, self-loathing story. Short, though, like 30-second story. And just start talking. Just
30-second story.
Of your whole life story. Your whole life story in 30 seconds.
My whole life story.
All the negative.
Well,
for me story.
My whole life story, which you're asking me, is for my whole life neurosis. You're not asking me for my story. You're asking me what's messed up about me.
Yes.
Okay, that's easy. I'm not good enough. I'm not tall enough.
No.
I'm not
Say it
handsome
in a
enough.
story.
But in the story,
I'm Frank Ferrante, and I was born this, and this
poor,
happened, and that
I'm
happened.
Frank Ferrante, and I was born a poor black child. It's like, I'm Frank Ferrante, and I was born from immigrant parents who didn't speak English, that we struggled a lot, and we were very, very poor. My father was very violent, and my mother was given to histrionics. And from there, I went to Catholic school, and Catholic school was very, very vicious and cruel and violent also. And the neighborhood I lived in was violent. And as a result,
Keep going.
I never felt safe.
Okay, again, repeat the whole thing.
I
was brought up.
I was born in. My parents were from Italy, and they settled from Italy in Brooklyn. We were very, very poor. At 5 years old, I thought my mother died because she was very sick and she went away, but I didn't understand what was going on. I also went to Catholic school, which was very harsh and unkind and brutal. And what was I? And
your father was.
And my father was very violent.
And your mother.
It was given to histrionics.
Again, faster.
Faster. Okay. My parents were from Italy. I grew up in Brooklyn. We were very poor, working class poor. That was a category at one time. And I thought my mother died when I was 5 years old, and I went to a boarding school with a foster home with a hag for about a month. And then when I came back, I went to Catholic school, and I went to Catholic school for 7 years, where I experienced a tremendous amount of brutality and meanness. And my father was also a very violent guy.
And your mom suffered.
And my mother was prone to histrionics.
Faster, much faster.
Oh my God!
Come on, faster.
No, it's okay. My parents were from Italy. Grew up in New York City. We were very poor. I thought my mother died when I was 5 years old. I had to go to a foster home for a while. After the foster home, we came back to the house. I never felt safe. I started going to Catholic school, where I was routinely beaten, shamed, and brutalized. And then my father was very violent.
And your mother?
And was prone to histrionics.
Okay. Do you see how you're adding still little bits of even deeper pain? Each one, it's
yeah,
like you add
another
that. This or that. Okay, so now say it again in 10 seconds. Your whole story. You can even just say one word for each area. Go.
What do you mean one word for each area?
Brooklyn.
Okay.
Catholic schools.
Okay, so parents from Italy. We were being poor. My mother dying. Then Catholic school. Brutality in Catholic school. Jesus. My father was violent. Father, mother, histrionics.
Okay.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
So do you see how at first you were serious about it and you're committed to it, and it was your trophy? These are my pains, these are my sufferings, and now you're laughing about it.
Right.
Okay, so if we could just find a moment in our life where we could laugh at our life, because that's all it is. It goes by in a split second and it's done.
Right.
And you can either hang on to the sorrow, the pain, and make every life miserable and sad, and you get to be a victim because, damn it, this happened to me. Or you could look at it like you did. You just were laughing at it. So now I want you to tell the same story, but in 15 seconds of everything positive.
When I grew up, when I was the first born in a Sicilian family, which is normally an auspicious place. My mother doted on me. All she ever wanted was to have children, and I had a grandmother and grandfather who I adored, and I remember my grandmother shelling walnuts for me. As my first clear memory as a child is my grandmother in a small kitchen in Brooklyn with a linoleum floor, with a oil burning stove and this Formica table, and she was shelling walnuts, and I always remember that as like my first experience with a profound act of love. My grandfather loved me too, bought me a sailor suit. I was really, really a smart kid, only I didn't know it because everybody told me I was stupid. But I was reading a lot, and I loved reading as a child.
Okay, stop. Repeat that, but do it quicker, fast. Like in 20 seconds. Just the positives.
I was the firstborn of a Sicilian family, which is a rather auspicious place in that culture. My mother doted on me. She really wanted to have children, and she was really happy. She wanted to have us, so it wasn't any barrier, any interference with the love between the amniotic fluid and the actual birthing, and I had grandparents that really loved me very much. My grandmother used to shell walnuts for me when I was little, and I used to love that. I also learned how to read, because I thought one of the positive things that happened, and one of the reasons I was so self-educated or autodidactic, is because I thought that I could fix what was going on if I could figure out the right information and the right words to express it. So I would start reading, at a young age, started reading the encyclopedia and the dictionary, because I figured between those two things was the answer to everything.
Okay, and you were really smart, but you didn't know it. Now say it all in 10 seconds.
I was the firstborn child of a Sicilian family, rather auspicious position.
10 seconds, one word or one.
Okay, Sicilian family, firstborn, great-grandparents, loved them, they loved me, was an avid reader at a very, very young age, and was self-educated until I went to college when I was 50. That's 10 seconds.
Okay. With that, I want to run with that in a minute, but with this exercise, I would love everyone to try it and find a partner, a friend, or, anyone, or start a little group, a support group that all watch this, and go over your story over and over again, and then do the positive aspect and see how your life changed, but write it down and then read it back and forth, and you'll see tremendous change. So, psychic pain. Why are we so afraid of it? Why is it considered weak? Come on, get over it. And we don't want to grieve. Grieving is weak. My father just died, and 2 days after that, people were telling me, I was taking it slow. I said, I'm going to take it slow this week. Come on, get up.
Right.
Life goes on. He's in a better place. I'm like, well, can I just take a couple of days?
Right,
1 week?
right.
It's like been a couple of days. Can I take a week off and just feel? And it was like not okay. So how do you address that?
Yeah, and if just a few more examples, like one of the things is that people have said to me at various times in my life in a breakup is the quickest way to get over somebody is to get under somebody, and things like that.
I hate that.
Yeah, things like that. That really don't serve, because and a lot of people do that. They jump into bed with somebody else, and what it does is it completely dishonors everything that you've been through. It dishonors your process, and it doesn't help. I think that people are afraid of it because they think they're going to get overwhelmed by it, and it's going to rule them. I have talked to people over the years about forgiveness. The resistance to forgive is unbelievable, but I think that the final frontier is the journey within. That's what Joseph Campbell has written volumes about this stuff. All those wars are the wars within. What happens with wars outside is a reflection of what's happening inside of us. And so some people are really afraid to go to those places. But it's what Joseph Campbell says, it's the cave you fear to enter that holds your greatest treasure.
Yes. So with that, I would like to offer the exercise where it's a grieving exercise where you actually take a whole day and you block it out. And if you can't somehow get a whole day, take an hour, take 15 minutes and cry. Put on really sad, depressing music and cry.
Right.
Because when you actually take the time to get it out, maybe do 15 minutes a day if that's all you have, whatever it is, but get it out. Even if you can't feel like crying, force the cry, because a lot of people say, well, I can't cry. I don't know why. I'm just not feeling. That means there's so much pain and you have masked it so much that it's hard to break. So that's another exercise.
Right, and some pains are some of these traumas go back to the original core fracture, and require help. Some of these things you can't do alone.
Yes. That's why one would take a course like this, or they would get private coaching, or they would join a support group, and whatever that is for you, whatever the issue is.
Okay, setting an intention. There are people that you have in your life, I'm sure, you see that they say that they want something, and they say this all the time. It's part of their repertoire. This is something they repeat, but they never really do anything about it, right? And so, setting an intention is if you really want something, if you really want to change something in your life, you want to lose weight, you want get healthy. You want to invite your soulmate, your partner into your life. It requires a willingness to really commit to taking the steps that you have to take to get yourself in the vibrational frequency that will invite these things. And so if you want to lose weight, you have to first of all be willing to do something different and then make a decision. People don't realize how powerful a decision is. It's probably one of the most powerful things you can do as a human being is make a decision.
Yes.
And I did that. I was 325 pounds. I got to a place where I hit bottom. I didn't want to go any lower than I was, and I could have emotionally. And I surrendered to somebody that knew more than me about how to do this. But I made the decision that I was going to follow this guy's rules about he was a pro athlete. I was going to follow his direction, no matter what. And I did, and I got out of my own head because the mentality that creates the problem cannot solve it. And so you set an intention by making it, figuring out what it is you want to do, and then committing to it, and then making a decision that you're going to do what it takes to accomplish that, and to be open to the results, because you may get even better results than you thought of. So to be open to the results, not to be so attached to them that they're confined.
Okay, so to set an intention, the way to do that is to actually write it down. I'm a big believer in writing things down. So what do you want? You want to lose weight. I want to lose 100 pounds. So you break that up into little bites, like I call them 3-foot tosses. So you break it down into what do I want to accomplish this week, the month, 3 months, 6 months, then a year. And write it down. Just today, I'm going to then do this. What are you going to do this week if you want to lose 2 pounds this week? Each day, what are you going to eat? When are you going to exercise? The time, and plan it ahead. Get everything beforehand so you set yourself up for success. Then another way is when you don't accomplish what you want to accomplish. I'm sure you experience this as we do. It's you don't love yourself enough to do it actually for you, or you want to still punish yourself. Or I know a lot of women say, I got fat because I was raped or something, and I want someone to love me for me, or I don't want to attract. Right. So there's something going on. So it's all about self-love. So an exercise is eye gazing, which I like to do. If we could demonstrate a little bit, you take someone's hands, or you look at yourself in the mirror, and you just look at someone you love and look into their eyes, or you look into the mirror and get really close, like 3-4 minutes. And a great thing to do it is in the morning and at night when you're brushing your teeth or whatever, or afterwards. And you just eye gaze and you say, I love you. If you're looking at if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, just say, I love you, and say your name over and over again, and just stare, because now you're looking into your soul. The eyes are the mirror of your soul. And if you look it through somebody else, it really helps you engage. If that person loves you, it helps reflect yourself. They reflect your goodness back to you. And you just do this. If you could do this every morning, 10 times a day if you need to. Use a mirror or use a loved one. That's all it is. So get to it and start getting successful inside success, outside success. Start living your dream like Frank has, like I'm trying to do. But like we've always talked about, you never really arrive. It's the journey that counts. So enjoy your journey, and this is part of the journey. And it's kind of fun when you start taking baby steps to love yourself, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, it's nice to change that dialogue that you have with yourself in the mirror. People don't think anything of saying something bad about themselves.
Yes.
But when we do those positive affirmations, people get all bent out of shape.
Yeah, it's like, that person said this about me. How dare them? Well, what do you say about yourself?
Yeah, right.
All day long, 1,000 times a day. So be nicer to yourself. Be gentle.